Hey there, what's up? This is Seth, and in this video, I'm going to show you a technique that I have used for years to build my buyers list using Craigslist. And the great thing about Craigslist is that it's a huge marketplace. It's where I've sold almost all of my properties in my investing career. It's been like the #1 place to go, and it's free, which is another amazing perk about it. Now, Craigslist has actually changed a lot since I first started investing in real estate. You can't really embed links anymore. You can't use any pretty HTML, or in a lot of ways, they've kind of restricted the creativity that you can use, which I get where they're coming from. They really did it because a lot of people were just sort of spamming the site, and it really kind of was a necessary change. So as a result, it makes it a little bit harder for us to get traffic, but it's still definitely worth doing this because there's a lot of eyeballs that hit Craigslist. And if you can, put together a compelling advertisement with a good headline, some good images, and refer people back to your site, it can absolutely be worthwhile, and you can get a lot of nice traffic from it. So just to give you an idea of what you can do, if I was trying to get some traffic from Craigslist to my landing page to sign up for my buyers list, I would go about it by creating an ad like this. And again, this is just my market. You can do this in whatever market you're working in. But you go to the real estate for sale section, and then you'll see something like this. And again, Craigslist has changed a lot, so depending on what point in time you're watching this, it may look a little bit different. But really, once you've actually created a Craigslist account, which I have, and I'm currently logged in. So if you haven't done that yet, you'll want to first create an account. But once you've done that, you just go up here to this button that says Post. And this is how we actually get started with a new posting. For the purpose of trying to sell a piece of real estate, we would go here and hit housing offered, and then real estate by owner. And then right here, we're just going to start putting in the information. I've actually got a pre-made description that I'm going to put in here. So I'm just going to paste it like that. And chances are, if you found this, if you're watching this video on the blog, you can actually copy and paste this exact wording if you want. Of course, you'll probably want to change it a little bit based on what your business is and what you're trying to do. But so, as you can see, this is the kind of wording that I would put in there. The headline is very important, the headline and the image. So I'm going to go ahead and just say, just doctor this up a little bit. As you can see, this headline is a little obnoxious, and that's kind of what I'm going for, just because I really want people to notice it. And if you're not sticking out, a lot of times people won't notice it. So, and then down here for housing type, in this case, I'm a land investor. That's usually what I'm trying to do, so I'm going to pick that. But if, obviously you would pick whatever type of properties you're trying to sell or build your buyers list for. And just to coincide with the description, I'm going to put that in there. And generally speaking, I would suggest that when you're doing this, you actually have what you're talking about. Like, in other words, don't just lie. I guess it's kind of a principle thing, but also that kind of thing, it's sort of just like it can be kind of a gimmicky thing, and it's easy to do if you're just trying to, build the list right now. But a lot of times people are going to catch on to that. If you tell people to go to your website and you don't actually have what you're saying you have, they're not dumb. They're going to figure that out. So don't set yourself up for a bad reputation or being kind of sleazy. Make sure you can actually do what you're saying you're going to do. And if you can't do this yet, then maybe the first step is to actually start looking for some deals before you start doing this, or actually getting something under contract so you have what you're talking about. But anyway, that's just a little sidebar. So when you got that stuff filled in, you're then going to scroll to the bottom and just hit continue. So we'll do that. That's all good and fine. I'm not putting a specific address in there for this, but if you wanted to, you could. Now, add images. I would say the more images you can add, the better. Images are just a very good, helpful thing. At the very least, you want to have at least one. I wouldn't even bother doing this unless you have some kind of image, because images are very powerful and go a really long way. So there's my image. That. Done with images. Pretty much it. You can kind of see the entire ad here. And one of the unfortunate things about Craigslist these days is that you can't embed clickable links in your listings anymore. So back in the day, people could just sort of click on this and go to my website. So that's a little bit of a bummer, but it's still worth doing, because if somebody's coming across this ad, and if you're really conveying the value that you can bring to the table and what you can do, and if people are interested, they will go through the motions of, highlighting this and copying it and pasting it, or actually typing it into their address bar, if it actually motivates them to do so. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're putting your own description together. Use your own creativity and try to think of a way to actually motivate people to go through the motions of typing that URL into their browser and visiting your website. Because that's really all it takes. And once they get there, a lot of times if they've gone that far, it's just a matter of them signing up. So once that's all finished, you just hit publish. Just like that, your ad is on the way to going live. So this is what the ad looks like. Again, it's usually going to take a little bit of time to actually get up and running on Craigslist, but that's all you got to do. Just put together a description, include your website URL, be sure to add a picture, really good headline. And for that matter, if you've got properties that would appeal to multiple markets, don't feel like you just have to stick with the market that you're in or that your property's in. As you can see back here, there are a lot of different markets here on Craigslist, and this is just in Michigan. In my case here in Grand Rapids, we've got the Muskegon market, which is right next to it. We've got Lansing, we've got Kalamazoo. There's several markets here who would probably have lots of people who would still be interested in these same properties. So when you're dealing with Craigslist, you can't necessarily copy your ads verbatim and just post them all over the place, because this system is probably going to recognize that as spam and start flagging and deleting your ads. So I wouldn't do that, but try to continue to be creative. Use different pictures, use different descriptions, get your ads out in front of as many people as possible, because really all it takes is time. This is free advertising as long as you're willing to go through the motions and do it. So if you're on a tight budget and if you can't take the direct mail approach, Craigslist is another great option. I've used it for a long time and it works. So hopefully that all makes sense, and I wish you all the best as you are getting into it with Craigslist. Good luck.